I'm from central New Jersey, where a lot of people do creepy, weird, and J stuff, like exploring abandoned locations. One night, my friends and I decided to check out an old, abandoned water mill up north. I heard stories about how eerie it was, but seeing it for myself was different. We drove 40 minutes up a windy, dark road and parked our cars in the shadows. Phones out, flashlights on. We made our way through the pitch black woods. The path was confusing, full of twists and easy to get lost in. When we finally reached the mill, the entrance was padlocked, but there was a small opening you could squeeze through. Inside, the place was falling apart. Roof caved in here and there, floors creaking under every step, and a 20-foot well right in the center added to the creepy vibe. Graffiti covered every wall, some of it satanic symbols and disturbing drawings. One of my friends suggested we check out a back room. As we approached, he froze. There was a small tent set up with a dim light inside. Panic hit us. Suddenly, a loud moan, like something from a zombie movie, echoed through the building. We bolted. I got stuck in the gate because of my backpack, had to hand it to my friend, and squeezed through. We ran as fast as we could, twisting through every turn to make sure we weren't followed. Thanks to our phone GPS, we eventually found a main road and made it back to the cars. And the scariest part, whoever was in that mill knew we were there and could hear everything we were saying. Story 2. One night, back in 2010, my dad arrived home late after traveling for hours. It was already 10 p.m., and he jokingly complained that all he wanted was a cup of coffee. My mom heated some water and handed my brother and me a little money, asking us to check if any nearby shops were still open. We didn't expect much, most places had already closed, but there was one shop we knew that sometimes stayed open late. Getting there meant walking through a narrow, overgrown path with no streetlights. I was 15 at the time, and my younger brother was 14. As we walked, we were quietly singing along to a song we loved back then, trying to stay relaxed. That's when I noticed a tall figure behind us. The street was mostly empty aside from a few people gathered far away, and the man seemed to be watching us. He followed us as we approached the dark path. My brother leaned over and told me we should walk faster. When we did, the man kept pace. We sped up again and so did he. That's when panic kicked in, and we took off running as fast as we could. I don't know if he chased us the entire way, but we reached the shop out of breath and shaken. Thankfully, it was still open. The shop owner what had happened, and he immediately helped us call our dad. Within minutes, our parents arrived and took us home. We never saw that man again, and even now, I wouldn't recognize him if I passed him during the day. My brother and I sometimes joke about it now, but the memory still gives us chills. To this day, we don't know who that man was or what he planned to do. Story 3. Last June, just before I turned 18, my friends and I went on a surfing holiday to a town in England. One day, we decided to visit the Eden Project, a huge indoor rainforest, but it was quite far from where we were staying. We took a bus, which dropped us off about 5 miles away, planning to walk the rest of the way. Things quickly went sideways. We got completely lost, and to make matters worse, a sudden downpour soaked us as we wandered through the countryside. Hoping to catch a ride, we tried the classic hitchhiker gesture, sticking out our thumbs and waited. After a few cars passed, a truck finally stopped. Inside were two large men who looked significantly older than us. Even though we felt uneasy, they were clearly much bigger than us. I went up to the window to ask if they were headed to the Eden Project. The way they looked at us made me uncomfortable. They said they were going on our way and suggested we all get in their truck. That's when I noticed open beer cans in the cup holders. I politely declined, saying we find another ride. The driver hesitated for a moment, giving me another creepy look, and then sped off. My friends and I were shaken, but luckily, we soon got picked up by a kind elderly couple in a minivan. The rest of the journey went smoothly, and we were all very grateful we hadn't accepted the first ride. Story 4. I remember this story vividly, and so does my mom. It's easily the scary experience of my life. A little context: I was around 7 or 8, living in a safe, family oriented suburban neighborhood. One sunny summer day, my mom was busy working and handling things around the house, and I was probably being my usual annoying 8-year-old self. She suggested that I go play in the front yard, which wasn't unusual, it had been done countless times before. Families and kids were always outside, and my mom would check on me every 15 to 20 minutes. My dad wasn't home at the time. While I was outside doing whatever kids do, a car pulled over in front of my house. A woman stepped out dressed in business attire, and it was a black car, which I now recognize was a Honda Civic. She walked over to me and started talking. She says, "Hi, your mom called me earlier and said I'm picking you up today to babysit you. She's busy with work." I say, "Oh, really? Who are you?" She then says, "I work with your mom." So I say, "Okay, I'm gonna go inside and tell her you're here." She says, No need to. We already talked about it." She then reaches towards me with her arms out. I immediately ran inside and told my mom what happened. She shot up and ran outside, but the woman had already driven down the street. All I remember was the color and the make of her car. Story 5. I've always been more active at night, running, walking, or just hanging out in parks. I was 17 at the time, knew my neighborhood like the back of my hand, and wasn't usually worried about being out alone. I always made a mental note of safe places nearby in case anything felt off. One evening around 9 p.m., I went for a run without my phone. My route took me across a well-lit field beside an indoor pool and library. Then I planned to cut through the lot and head down by the river for the final stretch home. I kept my head on swivel, always aware of my surroundings. As I jogged, I noticed a man standing off to my left. I slowed down, took out my earbuds, and kept a safe distance. I asked if he was lost, and he said he was trying to find the soccer center. I gave clear directions, and he repeated them back, thanked me, and walked away. Or so I thought. A bit later, I saw a second person in the parking lot. He was on his phone, and all other vehicles were empty. I didn't think much of it and continued on. Soon, the first man appeared again, this time in his car, stuck at a light. He parked a short distance ahead, got out, and asked for more directions. I stayed back and gave them, but then he started fumbling with his pockets, claiming he locked himself out of his car. He checked the doors, even asking me to try them, despite my protest. I decided to step away and walk a short distance around the corner to call for help from a nearby gas station. For some reason, he tried to make me stay while continuing to check the car doors. I went to the gas station, but no one would let me use the phone. When I returned, I noticed the second man in the car parked behind the first, and both of them drove off quickly together. That's when it clicked. He was never locked out and he didn't need directions. It was a ploy to target someone alone. I immediately stuck to the busiest streets, avoided shortcuts, alleys, and parking lots, and walked home safely. Since that night, I never go out without my phone, and I'm so glad I kept my distance and trusted my instincts. Story 6. Late one night, around 3 a.m., I was driving my brother's friend back to her place, which was pretty far from my house. My brother didn't come with us, so it was just my boyfriend, his friend, and me. Quiet, awkward, but uneventful. After dropping her off, we headed back down toward the main road. The streets were almost completely empty. At the next traffic light, we noticed a purple Volkswagen Beetle sitting in the left turn lane. At first, we thought it was just waiting to turn, but it wasn't moving at all. As we drove past, I suddenly saw a woman pressed against the window, screaming for help. I slowed down but didn't stop. Her cries were loud, desperate, and full of fear. It sent chills through me. My boyfriend wanted to keep driving, it felt dangerous, but I couldn't just leave knowing someone might be in real trouble. I turned down the next street, looped around, and headed back. As I approached again, I had a horrible feeling in my stomach. I pulled up alongside them, but I couldn't clearly see the driver. I switched lanes, so we were side by side, and I rolled my window down. The woman immediately started screaming again, shouting things like, "No," and "Don't do it." Then she yelled, "Don't stop." That's when alarms went off in my head. I remembered stories about people being lured into dangerous situations as a part of a setup. The second she yelled that, I floored it. I don't even remember checking the light. I just got out of there. I called 911 right away and explained everything. When I looked in my rearview mirror, the beater was still there, but their headlights were off. I went straight home and stayed awake for hours, terrified I might be followed and worried about what happened to that woman. The sound of her screaming is something I'll never forget. And that's all 6 true stories that almost turned deadly. Each one a reminder that danger can show up when you least expect it. If these gave you chills, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Comment down below which story freaks you out the most. I'm dying to see your reactions. And until next time, stay anonymous.